When you've played as many games as I have, you start to notice gameplay elements and ideas that have become more ubiquitous among game developers. There are so many elements that make up any given video game, but among the most important elements that you have to get right is the movement. Think about it. How many games have you played that you just couldn't enjoy because the movement controls felt floaty and unresponsive? Or maybe the movement was just slow and boring or just made little sense in general? Nailing down movement systems is one of the best ways to establish a very high skill ceiling, while keeping the skill floor low enough to stay accessible for more casual players. If you're confused by what I mean by that, just think about Mario games. Chances are pretty high that you've played 1 or 2 Mario titles in your life and have had some amount of fun with it. But just take a look at this short clip from a speedrun from Super Mario 64. Or maybe this clip from a speedrun of a Kaizo Mario game. I've played a good amount of Super Mario World or Super Mario 64, but I'm nowhere near this level of mastery with it. And this is exactly what I mean by a high skill ceiling. The tight and responsive movement of these games have kept them relevant long past their prime. Going even further with this idea, I'd argue that fun and exciting movement mechanics are the best way to help a player feel powerful. For me, even if my character has the ability to summon a volcano to wipe out cities, that power is boring if there is no reason to move or dodge or fly or anything to challenge my position. So with all that in mind, I thought for a little while and came up with a small list of the most powerful movement abilities that I could think of that not only make the player feel more powerful, but also have the power to completely change the way a game is played and even designed. The first of these 3 powerful abilities that I've identified is the humble little dodge roll. At first you might think, what? But that's not exciting, it's just a little roll. But what this move lacks in flashiness and fashion, it makes up for in raw utility. The dodge roll will propel you rather suddenly in any direction you want. You're moving quickly and low to the ground, which often makes it so that a deadly attack or projectile that would have otherwise collided with your beautiful face will instead harmlessly whoosh past you, opening up the opportunity for you to flee, close distance, or counterattack. Additionally, this little move often comes with the added bonus of giving you a few invincibility frames, a short moment where, even if you should have gotten hit, an attack won't affect you. These aspects make the dodge roll one of the most high-utility movement abilities that you can have in your toolbox, since it's just as offensive as it is defensive. The quick repositioning with the invincibility frames gives you the freedom of decision in combat that opens up so many opportunities for survival or aggression, such that any game that employs this movement ability in the list of tools that it gives you would be an entirely different experience if it didn't exist. The next ability in this list is the double jump. The power of this ability should be pretty apparent, mostly because in most cases it literally defies physics. Normally, when you want to jump, you need something solid to push yourself off of, but screw that, we don't have time to find a solid surface, we probably have a world to save. Double jumping might seem relatively benign, but while it doesn't quite open up the level of aggression that a well-timed dodge roll will, it'll definitely give you the freedom of exploration that few other abilities can even begin to dream of. It even hides a surprising amount of flexibility in its usage. Depending on the timing of your second jump, you can use the same ability to either gain height or gain distance to clear a variety of gaps, or even use the second jump to save yourself from a perilous fall, or even course correct a particularly precise placement during a tricky section of platforming. It has its uses in combat situations too, even if it is limited to mostly a defensive tool. Occasionally though, you'll see combat encounters designed in such a way that double jumping is incorporated into the fights as a way to reach high-flying enemies or to assist you in pulling off insane combos with a level of verticality that is hard to pull off without enough vertical freedom. The landscape and combat encounters of games with double jump tend to feel so much more different from games that don't give you that power. But what makes the power of this ability much more apparent is if the game lets you acquire this ability at some point in the middle of your adventure. I don't know about you, But when I finally acquire the ability to double jump in a game that doesn't offer it in the beginning, I feel immediately more powerful as I begin to realize the breadth of what has just opened up to me as a result of gaining this powerful ability. Alright, so you've probably already guessed what the last thing on this list is going to be, and that is, drumroll please, teleportation!
Repositioning.
And I don't mean the kind of teleportation that lets you fast travel from point to point like in Skyrim or Fallout, no. The type of teleportation that I'm talking about is the relatively short-range, instantaneous movement ability that instantly relocates you from point A to point B without any amount of interpolation. Or if there is interpolation, it's so fast that it probably shouldn't even be there. Think Tracer or Reaper from Overwatch, or Corvo from Dishonored, or mages and warlocks and monks from World of Warcraft. The power in this ability comes from many places. The first and most obvious of its uses comes in the form of manipulating distance, whether it be closing or creating a gap. The downtime in these abilities, especially those that are considered a blink, is so low that you can immediately follow up with another ability after relocating. Teleport back behind a pillar, confusing your enemies and giving you a brief moment of calm to recover health, set a trap, or improvise a plan. And the offensive uses go even further than that. Teleportation allows the player to take less obvious paths to their objective, to catch an enemy from an angle that is unlikely to be guarded as heavily, such as being able to enter a third-floor apartment from some random window, for instance. And finally, depending on the allowed distance of the teleportation, this ability can give characters an even sneakier opportunity for flanking than a short-range blink around a lesser-guarded path can. The biggest opportunity for a surprise can come from teleporting past the line of sight of your enemies from cover to cover, then ending up behind them for a nasty surprise. In my opinion, it is by far the most powerful movement ability that is available for any single one of its uses. Well, I'd say that about covers everything. Power doesn't necessarily equal fun, so I'm curious. Which game has your favorite movement ability and what is it? Let me know in the comments section below. And don't forget to hit that like button on your way out, and if you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Twitter at ingeniousclown and hit that subscribe button for more awesome gaming content here in the future, and I will see you next time. The quick repositioning with the revivify.